Okay, so great. Good morning, all. I'm delighted to introduce you to Viktorija, that is joining us today for the first of the 5th edition of the Portfolio Series talk. So we've got now a really great collection of talks. And since last year, all the talks have been recorded and they are available online. So the format is designed to host our graduates and friends, and to have an opportunity to go through mainly the portfolio, so the work they have developed in year 3, but also a little bit of what it's like being out of university. So, to talk a little bit of the post-university scenario, its challenges and opportunities. It's a really fantastic opportunity for our students to set ambition and really to see what you can achieve. But also a really good idea and opportunity to see what everybody else has done. And especially for year 3, you are starting now to develop your final major project. So that's really good idea, a good opportunity to see how Viktorija and then a few others have gone through the process and the idea and how they actually have developed their project further. I'm sure you will find this presentation fascinating and exciting. Please make sure that you prepare some questions, because Viktorija will be able to stay with us a bit longer after the presentation to take your question. So join me in welcoming Viktorija. Viktorija, thank you so much for taking time out of your job and sharing it with us. How are you doing?
Well, thanks for inviting, and hello to everyone. I hope you're gonna enjoy what I'm gonna present.
Where are you now?
So I'm actually at work in the studio, always within design process.
Okay, great. What are you working at now? So have you got this job since a long time?
I actually prepared a couple of slides based on the questions that you emailed me quite a while ago. I could probably share that if you're okay with that. I have a bit of delay on my end, so I'm just going to be turning on my camera while presenting the slides. So I hope you're okay with that as well. Can you see it? No answers. Can you see it? All good?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, good. So it's just roughly what am I doing now. You can see here some photos before, during, and after. It's the first of my project that were moved to the side, and it's almost finished. Really enjoy working on this because it's a listed historical building where I feel my heart belongs the most. So I just thought I'm going to share what's going on at the moment. Obviously, it's not only that. I work on many other projects, including private residential, retail, commercial, and including all the stages, going to site visits, sourcing materials, doing visuals, doing 3D, doing site surveys. Just wanted to give you a flavor that is a really, really wide variety of different projects and different ways visualizing it.
Viktorija, are the projects all in London?
For now, I'm not sure if Francesca has another question.
Yes, Viktorija, Gavin was asking.
Okay, Gavin?
Yeah.
Yeah, are the projects all in London?
No, some of them, no. This one is outside London, this one is outside London. This is in Watford. This is private residential based in central London.
Thank you, Victoria.
I do
So
get to
yes,
travel a bit outside London for some of my projects.
yeah, that's a good thing, I guess, after being, not able to travel for such a long time. So yes, I do agree. The drawings that you had on the previous page are really exciting and really nice projects so far. The question would be like, is there anything? What is your biggest takeaway from your university experience that has actually supported you in your job?
Yeah, I think I stopped with this slide because in a way I wanted to show a variety of different methods, different things that you have to do while working on a project. And I think the main takeaway is within university, you develop so many skills, 2D, 3D, model making. You test various ways how to approach the building. You always look for the best way to reuse the building. How much to add, how much to reuse in order to enhance the existing buildings. So I think that's the variety of skills that I took from the university really helped me while working in real life industry, and it's still helping because I think the more you take, the more you learn, the more strategies you can apply, and each project is unique, so then you can kind of see, okay, maybe with this is better to do 3D, maybe with this is better to do collage. You kind of start seeing what's the best way to showcase the project and to present your ideas.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and that's why we really kind of push students to try to explore and learn, but also like to test, how different things can be achieved through different kind of processes and different tools, as you say, because every project, you're right, every project is like unique and needs to be addressed in a very specific way. So that's all good. Thank you so much for this little introduction. Shall we go and have a look at your final major project, the Ludic Home?
Of course. Oh, sorry, I pressed the wrong one. let me full screen. Okay, so that's my major project. Probably some of you saw it already. I'm not sure. I'm aware of the time, so I'll try my best not to speak for too long and just to mention the key points so you could get a flavor. Obviously, the contents page, and then as always, in every project, you start with the research, and our area was Smithfield area. And I kind of divided it into the past, the present, and the future, because part of our brief was to reimagine the future of Smithfield, because the current market is gonna be moving out, or we've already moved, I'm not too sure actually. And then the Museum of London is moving in there. So starting from the past, it's obviously quite a unique area. It was a very, very vibrant area. Obviously, the thing that it's famous for is probably for the raw meat market. But while doing the research, I found out that there was much more than that. There used to be Bartholomew's Fair in there, so it's this kind of playfulness and drama. But also, you could buy or sell your wife in there, which sounds so crazy nowadays. So it's really, really a live area. And even like considering today, I called it almost 24-hour place because there is lots of going on. The market opens very early. Then you have office workers coming in. Then there is quite a few pubs around. So and nightclubs as well. Fabric is there. I don't think it's still open, but it used to be. So there's always something happening. There's always movement, energy within that area. Obviously, I did site visit. I went to the market, and it was so chaotic in there. There was a protest at the time. There was lots of police, which you can see over here. I was taking photos, obviously, for my research, and I was approached by one of the staff members. And he just told me that I can't take photos here without saying hello, without asking anything. So I felt a bit scared and offended. So it was really, really interesting. Obviously, all the raw meat is so exposed in there. It's quite shocking to see that. I did a site writing. I also visited the market during its opening time and during when it's closed in the morning on Saturday. And the area looked completely different because when the market is open, it's full of vans, full of people, protests, police cars, boxes lying around. While on Saturday, when the market is closed, it's so still, it's so quiet, so peaceful. It's almost like everyone disappeared. So I kind of did as well some sketches, just closing my eyes, listening to the sound, and just thinking, what can I draw? How do I feel it? And then obviously, so what's gonna happen when the market's gonna move out and the Museum of London gonna be in the area? So I kind of try to contrast. So the museum, what do I associate with? Is culture, is history, is knowledge, and the existing market is quite brutal, quite archaic as well, very, very masculine. I only saw, I think, 2 or 3 women working there, and they were like in those cash booths. So it felt really, really masculine there. And I started questioning, so what could be in the future? And does this Smithfield market needs to highlight the history and the past, or should it bring new ideas and a new way of life? So what I took from all the research, I really like that that chaos within the area. I really like that it's not just the market, but it's also playfulness, is that drama around. I remember when I was visiting the market as well, one of the staff members saw that I was taking photos, and he started dancing in front of my phone. So I really like that, and this is something that I wanted to recreate, bring back, and reinforce it. And my idea was, what if Smithfield Market site will turn into a communal living room, a place for entertainment and joy? Shall I some look? Sorry, my screen got frozen. Oh, there you go. So the site. So my site, so this is the Smithfield Market. And then my site was just opposite that. So obviously I started by analyzing the site, doing the drawings. The site used to be an office for butchers or something like that. The site was, unfortunately, we couldn't go in the site because of COVID, but we had pretty good drawings. We had some photographs. I was able to find some photographs online as well. And I really, really tried to draw in every detail I could see. So let's say floor finishes. This might be a bit too small scales, but I think you can find my portfolio on Draft website. So I think it would be worth to zoom in probably. Because I really wanted to know what materials are there, what details. I then did these collages from details from exterior, so you can see some traces of past, different transparency levels. You have these worn, cracked surfaces. You have these new inhabitation ways, like, moss growing, birds living around the windows and sills. And then from what I could see from drawings and photos, I tried to recreate some detailing that is inside. So there were really, really, really fine details in the floor, parquet flooring, some doors. Created a 3D model, which helped me later on doing visuals, and some shots of interior. So the concept. So because I was inspired by this play and show and entertainment idea, I thought that my concept idea could be about home as a performance making machine. So in a way, it would highlight the past of the Smithfield area, the theatre, the play, and also connect with the local community. So I was thinking that the inhabitants will share their interest in performing arts, live there, and produce plays in one house, including script writing, scenography, costumes making. And the space would also open at certain moments to invite public members and watch that process. So this house conceptually would be like a behind the scenes space. It would expose the process that is usually hidden. And when we go to theatre, we only see the final product. But what I wanted to do, I want to expose that process, expose every detail. So I guess why I was drawing all the details in my existing side drawings, that was the reason, because I was really, really interested in what the site can offer, what it has in there, up to the small detail. So this is just explaining who are going to be the users of my site. So there are four graduates from creative arts. So one of them is a script writer, another one is a scenography maker, there's an actor, and they are looking to improve their skills and gain some experience. The second group is traveling theatre group. So they would be staying in the Ludic home for 4 months, and together with the students, with the graduates, preparing a play. And then obviously the public members who would be invited at some point to explore and observe the whole process of the play. And this is the program where you can see what spaces I'm planning to design within the Ludic home. How does it connect with the street life, and how does it connect with the Smithfield market, because the site is just opposite. So because it's a home and people will be living, obviously I'll need a permanent living units as well as temporary living units for traveling actors. They will need some workshop spaces, which is going to be semi-public, so at some point open to public members. Spaces for cooking and eating, spaces for rehearsing. So basically the site, the Ludic home site, it's like a big workshop where graduate and traveling theatre group is preparing the play, and then the final performance is going to take place in the Smithfield market site. And this is the atmospherical collage that I did, because I had some case studies, I had some ideas. I just wanted to put together into one to show the atmosphere, to show what experience I want to create for the users. Concept exploration. So obviously, because the idea was of exposing the process, I was exploring how could I open the building, how could I control what is visible, what is not, or when is it visible. So I did these quick collages. How much do I want to open the building as well? I was really working with 2D collaging. I was doing 3D. I was doing quick GIFs as well. Just trying anything that will help me to come up with some ideas, always mixing different techniques. Because one of the group was traveling, they were traveling actors. I thought it would be nice if their living units, their rooms would be mobile rooms. So I got inspired by those theatre equipment storage boxes on the wheels, and I thought, I could create something with that flavor. So those rooms could be moved around, arranged in different positions, could be almost shared or could be used for single person. And then on the right, I started exploring the materiality. What do I want to reuse? What do I want to add? Do I want to contrast it? Do I want that new addition would feel like new, or should it feel like it belongs there? So it was just the very first initial exploration of the materials. Also looking at some transparent materials, or maybe some cutting out some curtains and then exposing just very certain moments. And this is proposed design. So starting from the very front, I designed this external curtain, and the idea behind is that on night time, the building would be almost like sleeping. The tenants are sleeping, the city is sleeping, and the building is closed down. In the daytime, some of the curtains would go up and expose certain rooms of the building. So for example, here behind this window, I placed a writing workshop. So it's almost like the very first thing that you start doing when you're creating a play. And then in the evening time, the building would completely open, all the curtains would go up, and then the doors would open as well, and public members would be invited to walk around and see the process from closer. This is the basement. We had basement in our building where I placed laundry room for the tenants, and the basement is connected within this, I forgot now what is it called, through the staircase on this left. I was trying to introduce some movement, so almost anything that I could make it move, I was trying to make it move to keep that vibrancy and energy within the building. I did an RCP, reflected ceiling plan, showing the lighting and how would that work. And this is the ground floor. So you can see this is the street. So the first thing when you see when walking by the street is the writing room, writing workshop. When you go in, I placed the staircase here, so it's almost like inviting you to go up, or you could choose to stay here and then see different workshops, costume making workshop, makeup room, makeup and changing room. So there's lots of curtains, there's lots of sliding doors, and the tenant, they can choose what they want to expose, if they want to open the door or if they want to close it. So they are in control what they are exposing, because obviously they don't want to show everything. They want to keep that interest for the very final show. There's lots of pivoting screens as well to keep in control of what is seen, what is not. For each plan as well, I had to do an RCP. So in the first floor, we moved to the rehearsal space and the kitchen, tenant kitchen. Within this platform, I wanted it to be almost like a balcony, so it would have that connection with the theatre and its structure. So yes, again, the public member, they could oversee what's happening behind, but everything is divided by curtains. So again, the tenants and the actors, they can control what they want to showcase. Also, because it was about exposing not only the materials and the building, but also the life and the process. So within some of the existing buildings, you could overlook tenants' private life as well. So in this case, the kitchen. And again, the RCP for the first floor. Floor, it's a workshop, scenography making workshop, and it's mixed with these mobile rooms. So I'll show you a detail. These are 3 rooms that can be arranged in different ways, but also when not in use, they just pack into like a wardrobe on wheels or something. And then obviously the scenography workshop is on top of the rehearsing space. So if they need to bring down any props or something, they can do that very easily. And once again, the RCP. The third floor is for permanent living units, and they have some folding screens that folds into the table and kind of connects two rooms, but obviously both of the users has to agree whether they want it or no. Why I did that, it was that I wanted to allow them to collaborate a bit more, because when I did some research, I interviewed one scenography student, and she was saying that usually with actors or other costume making people, they don't really interact apart, like just mentioning this is the decoration for this and that, and that's it. So I thought that, oh, that's quite interesting. So I wanted that they would be interacting a bit more and have that ability to connect. And that's the third floor RCP. And this is one of the sections through front of the building looking in the back. So you can see the platform. You can see the change of the lighting types, because I wanted to give a feeling that the higher you go, the more it should look like the very top of the theater, you know, with all the sliding lighting, very busy, very messy in a way. And also, I added one floor, which is from glass blocks. So I thought it should be something different, but also not something so strong to overcome the existing building. I really like drawing in Vectorworks, so my drawings are quite detailed. It's just something I enjoy doing. And again, you see the connection between two spaces. You can see how these tables would work if they are open. If not, they can just lift up and kind of create a screen between two rooms. This is perspective view. And then obviously I had some cutouts in some of the curtains. So just showing a particular view, or let's say they end short. This is just showing some detailing of the mobile rooms. And here you can see the idea behind. So basically the bed would fold up and down, and then the dividers in between each unit would help to choose either you want to have a single room or you want to share with one of the users. So it's again just allowing them to be more connected, collaborate more. This is the table and the screen that is in between permanent rooms. Permanent rooms, let's say walls. I say walls, but it's not really like walls. It's a suspended structure. I thought it should be suspended as well, because it's at the very top floor, so it kind of gives that feeling of the very top of the theatre, where everything is suspended, everything is moving constantly. Some detailing around my new top floor. I thought if I would place lighting in between the glass blocks and the existing brick wall, it would kind of illuminate all the way around the building and give a nice glow, as well, emphasizing that is something new added. Materiality, I did it in this way. And I was really thinking what would I reuse? So for example, I chose to reuse parquet floor in some areas. I chose to reuse brick, exposed brick, reveal the structural steel, anything that I was adding new. I tried to make it as gentle as possible to the building, so it's more like it would complement what is there already rather than just contrast it. As well, different levels of transparency, different materials for transparency, different lighting. This is the lighting at the very top floor. lots of furniture with moving wheels. One of the tasks as well was to create demolition and proposed plans, which I think I'm just gonna skip through. It's probably worth to have a look on your own time. This might not be that interesting to talk about. And then some visuals. So again, you can see the costume making workshop. You can see rehearsing space, and through different materials, you can see either less or more depending what actors choose. You can overlook their private life in the kitchen. I also reused some of the existing doors in quite a real way. So it's mainly for the people who live there, if they could choose, or if they want to have a peek before the building opens or something, or who's coming in there. So it's made for them. Obviously, I chose to expose a lot of surfaces, and that's the visual of the scenography making workshop with the things moving up and down. Yes, that's it for my portfolio.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Viktorija, for this. It's really like a very comprehensive and coherent and really exciting presentation. Really, really fantastic project. We all really enjoyed a lot. There are many things that I really, really like about this project, but one thing that I think it comes across really, really well, it's the relationship that you have with the materiality of the building. And it really comes across everything you've done. So, since the very beginning, that fantastic collage in which for you, materials are a mix of pieces and, items just found in the building and, inspirations, to the sort of collage, that kind of manifesto in which you are putting together case studies, and you call it atmosphere, I think. So in which you've got case studies and things and really bring forward. But then, of course, that comes across in your photographic drawings, because we can see bits and pieces of the existing building, and we just saw how it comes across in your visuals as well. So it's absolutely clear, you've really connected your intervention, the new one, together with the materiality of the building. And I think that's really one of the fantastic features of your project. So I'm sure everybody will be very impressed from your narrative so far. But I was wondering, is there like a difficult moment that you have encountered throughout your design process?
Yes, definitely. It will be, otherwise it will be way too easy. Yes. I prepared a slide because that's one of the most difficult moments, I think, that I struggled with this project. I felt that I had very strong concept. I thought that I felt like in my head I had so many ideas, but in a way I didn't know how to express them on paper. I didn't know how to approach the building, how to make it interesting. Obviously, I was trying some model making. I was doing some sketches. I was doing some very simple 3D diagrams. And anything that I did, it came out into something like this, which was very, very symmetrical, very ordinary. And I think I personally didn't believe in it as well, but I was trying to convince my tutors. But then I realized that I had a very bad review. But then I realized, no, they're actually right. And I included this photo because after that very bad review, what I did, I went back to my concept ideas. I printed it. I wrote the keywords. I highlighted the keywords, and I actually stick it on the door, so it would be in front of me. And what I did, I just wrote down those ideas that I thought they were kind of just floating in my head. I just wrote it down, even if it didn't make sense. I wrote down the case studies that I really liked, what I liked from them. And then I created this collage. Oh, it doesn't work. Yeah, it's just purely, I was thinking, okay, so how do I want that the user would feel within the building? What do I want to expose in there? What atmosphere do I want to create? And I think for me, that was the really breaking point, because I think most of us probably, we can feel that, oh, it's just, I have so many ideas, but I can't show it. And obviously for me, it might be this with this project, with another project, it might be something else. Because as I said, each project is really unique. For someone else, it might be, I don't know, 3D modeling or something. It's really, I think, just finding your way or the right way for that design, for that project.
I think that's so interesting.
But yeah, I think we all have struggles.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting, because my next question would have been like, okay, so when did you actually thought you were in control? And I think it looks from these couple of slides, it's kind of the same moment. So it's when you actually clicked and you were able to translate, your main ideas into something that it's this manifesto that I personally am very fond of, that you actually felt, in control of what you were doing. So, it's really the same moment, the most difficult moment turned into the one in which you felt in control. And I think we've got a lot of takeaways from just these 2 slides. So first of all, it's very normal that you will be doing a series of orthographic drawings and solution that we will discuss and probably change many times. There is nothing strange in the process, but that's the way it's got to be. So that's why every time we really insist, like, we need to see drawings. And the other takeaway, I think, is that we are designers, and in that perspective, we are makers. So we really need to approach things by making something, making a drawing, a collage, by sticking things on a wall. I really relate on that quite a lot. But that's how it becomes helpful. So, just doing, just giving yourself the task of putting together this collage has actually helped you in developing, your work further. Another question, like a bit more broad on your 3 years, because of course, this is your final major project, but we've got students in year 1 and year 2 listening through the talk. When do you think, like, if you look at your career in perspective, and you've done the sandwich option, so you've been, let's say, with us for 4 years, because you've done 1 year of placement as well. Looking at your career, like, in perspective, when do you think you have started developing your own kind of vision and agenda towards interiors?
I have another slide for that, because I was really thinking a lot about that question. And then there was a lecture in first year that I'm not sure if you're still doing this lecture.
I don't, but maybe I should.
I think that you should, because to be honest, I still remember that lecture so good. And that was really so eye-opening for me, and I referred to it so many times. It's basically one of the things. This diagram is just shows design process, and if you see, it's not actually closed even, because it's almost it's finished, but it's never finished. So now even I looked at my project and I was already thinking, oh, I could add this, or I could do this different. But it's always, asking questions why, and looking for answers, or looking for different techniques, different ideas. Yeah, it's. I think you should really do this presentation for students then. But I remember for me that was really, really interesting, and really, really helped me through a lot. And then as well, this incomplete manifesto for growth. There are really a couple good ideas. I actually still have it printed from my first year. And one of them is that process is more important than the outcome, which I think I totally agree, because sometimes if we really, really focus on the outcome, at the end of the day, we might not reach anything, and we might narrow our possibilities and our ideas. And this is something as well I wanted to show. So this is my first year project, so don't judge me. My skill got better. But what I wanted to show it is that with this project, I was struggling so much. I was really struggling. I remember it was 2 weeks Easter break. And after Easter break, we had our review, and I was stressed. I was struggling. I couldn't find ideas. I didn't believe in anything. But the only thing I did is I didn't allow myself to stop. I would just create. I did, sketches like this. I did some modeling. I photographed it. I liked that shape. I took it further. I did some 3D, I did some collages. I even went to one, there was some kind of installation with foam. And because the foam was the main material I was working with, so I thought, okay, let me go and try, how does it feel to touch that foam within that space. And this was when I started doing collages as well to show my conceptual ideas. So I think the main point is that I wasn't thinking, what do I want to achieve? I was just creating something, anything that would come out, I was happy with, and I was trying to look for, okay, so how can I make it work then? So yeah, that's I think the main idea about it.
I think it is really, really useful. Thank you so much. And yes, of course, iteration, that's another thing on which we kind of insist a lot. And of course, in year one, it's something that you do apply pretty much to everything. And then, of course, as you progress further and as the brief becomes more complex, it does apply in a slightly different way. But yes, of course, as I said before, I think it's a matter of making. So whatever happens, whatever is the problem, whenever you can get stuck. I mean, that's another thing that happens to everyone. It's not that it doesn't happen in practice, it happens but the thing is that you've got to keep on doing things, sometimes a bit like, it's really tentative. So you don't really know what you're doing, but just the act of making things really unstuck you. And maybe sometimes, just by mistake, you do something with one intention, and then you go like, oh, maybe that's really interesting, and you discover things. So that's really, really, really useful.
Yeah.
So
I think perseverance is a really good lesson to take away from that as well. I mean, you said, Viktorija, that you were kind of stuck and you didn't necessarily know what you were doing, but just to keep going, not to be discouraged by the fact that you're not sure if it's working or not. It's too easy sometimes to kind of think, oh, I might try and do something, but then, if after half an hour it's not really making sense, the lesson is don't stop, just keep going. And it might be the second iteration, it might be the 10th iteration that starts to become interesting. But I think with the right kind of attitude of, I'm not going to give up, and even if I'm not sure that I know what I'm doing, I'm going to keep doing it until something interesting happens. That's a really good takeaway. And you definitely will always get somewhere. Whereas if you give up, you never get anywhere.
Yeah, developing your own strategies for making yourself unstuck. I mean, obviously tutorials that are structured into the week are opportunities for that, but you don't see, students, you don't see us enough really to wait for those opportunities, that you need to develop your own strategies for getting unstuck. And I think, Viktorija, thank you, because they're really useful ideas for how you might do that. And I know it's something that everybody experiences.
I think definitely in Viktorija's work, the collages were really inspiring. And I think that ended up being a very good strategy for you, Viktorija, because it was something that allowed you to kind of hang on to the ideas that you thought were important, and you were just kind of chucking them on the page. But either by the skills you already had to kind of combine things that were looking graphically nice, then actually the image itself becomes a thing that has value or power, and you can then kind of say, oh, okay, so this kind of explains it, and now I'm going to work out the details. But collage is always good because it allows you to get a result that looks like something fairly quickly, and so it's a good method for trying out different ideas or trying to figure out what's important about your project.
Yes, and everybody be really reassured. So what Viktorija showed us today, it's the best of her work. But of course, there is many other things that are not in that presentation. So she went through, I don't know how many different orthographic layout and drawings, because you did show some of them, but I completely remember the whole process. And of course, also the collage that she's always been very good at, and I'm sure you're still using that. We are looking at the final one, but of course, it's not that she went and she did it in half an hour, but I'm sure, she's gone through a lot of different versions. So of course, we are looking at the selection of the work, and there is so much more behind. So, it is a perseverance, and I think it's a lot of care for what you do, a lot of love, for your job. Another question that is a bit broader, and I think I'm quite interested as an educator. It's about really what happened in the last couple of years, and of course, you had year 3 completely online, 100%, and year 2 halfway through. So not because you were in placement then, yes. So it was like year 3, but I was wondering how that specific circumstance has impacted on your university experience somehow, even learning experience, and if you think you did learn something out of it somehow.
I think I quite enjoyed doing it online, just because it saved so much time in terms of that. But then what I was really missing is those studio days that you can just talk with your student colleagues or with tutors or something. Is that simple human interaction, that collaboration, because I think design is so much about just bouncing on each other's ideas as well. And still, I think online we made the work really, really good, but it's not exactly the same as it's in real time. So I guess, yeah, in a way, it kind of helped me with my personal time or something, because I was as well working during the last year, that, some things were kind of missing as well. Yeah, especially those studio days, I think. And I think it's just, people meet people. They're not made to be closed in their home, We need that human interaction. It's just really simple as that.
Yeah, it's just a question that we as educators, ask ourselves, because of course, last year it's been, really strange to say, at least, but I think, and we think and we know that the work that you have produced hasn't been impacted. So if you didn't know, if we said, well, Viktorija's work, it's been produced 3 years ago, we can't really see any the treatment, on being online. So we are just like wondering if, how did you perceive it on your side? Maybe it was the first year of lockdown, I don't know, and people were somehow, I don't know, motivated, or I'm not sure.
I think yes, definitely. I remember my last year towards the end, because it was quite strict lockdown. Everything was closed, so not much you could do. So yes, the motivation was a bit down. But I don't know. I think it's that thing that I developed. I just keep going. Whatever you have, you just need to keep going. And if you struggle, just find some things that motivates you. I don't know. I know galleries were closed, but you could still pick up books. There are so many now, as I say, kind of motivation boosters, you know, those quick read books. Yeah, I think, yeah, just finding the right way how to inspire yourself.
Whatever it was, it has worked really well, I think. So that's what's important. Last question, I think, is there something you did not expect after graduating?
That's very, very.
It might be something good. It might be something bad. You know, it might be whatever.
Well, because dissertation was quite unique, I think, in my case. I already was working within the industry within my last year, so I didn't have that pressure to find a job. That in a way, I didn't have official graduation, so sometimes I almost forget that I actually graduated. It's like something is almost missing to, you know, have the full experience. But I guess, yeah, it's being completely honest. I didn't expect it to have a job straight after. I didn't have to worry about that in my case. I'm not sure if it's very useful to hear this.
Well, it's a really good thing not to be needed to worry about. So yes, it's like saying you didn't have any shock in a way, because, you know, it's been quite fluid, the translation from university into the workplace, because it did. What Viktorija did, are you still working in the same practice, Viktorija?
Yes.
So Viktorija, she did a placement here.
Placement.
Yes, so she did placement here, of course, you know, at the end of year, in between year 2 and 3. So that's why it's a sandwich option. And then she kept on working, collaborating with the same practice throughout year 3. And then she went back to them. So, you know, it's been a circle more than, you know, a kind of a process in line. That's really, really good. Thank you so much. I think we've covered quite a lot. I don't know if we've got any question from any of the students. Year 3, you can use the chat, but I'm not sure everyone else can actually access the chat. Rachel. Okay, so we've got one question in the chat from Rachel, and Rachel says, did you draw your detail and people for the perspective building on Vectorworks or Illustrator? She's very technical. I think she means for the perspective building. I think she means the perspective section. That drawing that you did show was a perspective section.
Those were
in Vectorworks.
Yeah, those were in Vectorworks. And then in the visuals, the people in the visuals, they are drawn in Illustrator and then just moved onto the image.
Okay, then I think it's the process that we always suggest. Any other questions? You can even compliment Viktorija without making any question. You know, you can even go like, "Wow, I really loved." Was so inspiring.
Viktorija, can I ask a question? It's really just about, there may be some year 3 students who are toying with the idea of doing postgraduate study. And I'm just wondering if you've ever, have you thought about that at all? Do you think there's a time where you might go back and do a master's, for example?
I did. I'm still thinking about it. But I'm still not sure what exactly would I like to study. And obviously I was waiting for this COVID period to pass because I kind of want to study in studios, go to university. I think what I personally think, that might not work for everyone. And if I would have to repeat, I would do still exactly the same after you graduate from BA, try to get some work experience. From my personal point of view, it really helped me and still helps to understand what projects do I like, what buildings do I like, what ideas do I like, what I would like to personally develop in my future career. And based on that, I'm trying to choose my, not yet trying to choose my studies, but just thinking what would I like to study further. So I have this in mind. But not yet decided what exactly. Just want to make the right choice.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Makes sense. Any question?
Hi, I was just gonna say that your presentation was really good and like just love all the details. It's really amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very nice to hear.
I actually have one question. It's I couldn't see no model making on your portfolio.
Yes,
it didn't help you as much collage did, or I'm just curious why.
For my last project, I did collages. I did lots of sketching. My sketches are not very good, but they help for me to understand and develop the ideas. So I guess because they're not so good in terms of visually how they look, I think that's why I didn't include them in portfolio, but they're definitely in my field book, and I think that's on draft website as well. So if you want, you can, or maybe from tutors still have it, so they could just send it over.
Yes.
I think with my portfolio, I was very specific what I want to show. I really wanted to keep it kind of simple and very clear, just show the key points. Because obviously I don't want to show in my portfolio where did I really go wrong. I kept it on the side.
So yes, everything is available for the students to look at. But I think Fatine was more wondering about the model making. But Fatine, last year, everything has been online from day one till the graduation that never happened. So the strategy that we did use, it's been like in term one, we were not sure what would have been happening in term two. We were hopeful to go back to the studio. So in term one, we did do quite a lot of model making from home. So very specific, just by finding ingredients in the kitchen, mainly, and casting with flour and things like that, and using leftovers and cardboard and whatever we could, because there wasn't any other possibility. And then when we did realize, probably around now, that everything would have been stuck at home online, we made a proposal for the students, and they could choose in between two different pathways. One pathway was model making, but I was a very, let's say, a very experimental one, because the idea that it did work out really well for some of them. You will see Karen in a few weeks, and she will tell you a lot about it. But they had to send drawings to the digital model making workshop. And of course, it was really an interesting process, but quite complicated, as you can imagine. So there was time at the university receiving staff and trying out and showing the outcomes through a camera. But most of the students, and Viktorija was one of them, decided to go through the video pathway. So we did implement the course with tutorial and input about on how to do GIF and video. So actually, if you go on draft, you will see that pretty much every submission, we didn't include all the videos in draft, because even for a practical reason, they are too heavy for the website. But if you go onto draft, you will see that every student has got kind of a cinematic, let's say, component in the work. So that's the reason why you won't see a lot of model making. Apart from Karen, you will see a lot of model making, because she was really into it, and she was working from Japan. So there was also a time shift difficulty. But I think that was the reason for Teen.
I have a question, if I may. Or
Yeah.
Viktorija, definitely the Vectorworks drawings that you produce ended up being very impressively detailed and considered. But I just wondered, because it was like a requirement in the deliverables that students would do reflected ceiling plans, the lighting layouts for their projects. Do you think that being kind of pushed to think about the lighting and present the lighting on plans, did that help you to come up with details that you could then add to the section drawings, for example, or the perspective drawings? Because it's that level of kind of attention to detail where you start drawing light fittings into those kinds of drawings that makes them really less sketchy and more kind of real somehow, do you think?
Yeah, I think I can agree with you, because it gets a bit more realistic as well. And in I know in the first 2 years, at least when I was studying, we wouldn't be really asked to think about lighting so much. But then in our everyday, we wouldn't really survive without any lighting. But also in my project, because I chose different types of lighting that would give me different, that would create a different atmosphere. It really, I think, helped me to add to what I was trying to achieve. So yeah, I think definitely it's something that everyone should try to practice. And then obviously the more practice you have, the better it is for you later.
Yeah, that's something that it's still a requirement in the delivery. So I'm sure a lot of them are already kind of thinking. Okay, so maybe last question, if there is. Anyone there? Maybe that's it for today then. Thank you so much, Viktorija. That's been really, really helpful, I think.
Thank you, Viktorija.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, and hopefully see you very soon. Keep in touch.
Have a good day.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me. I really hope it was useful.
Very useful.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care.
And you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, that was really, really good.